Action, Jackson.
What's up, guys? Today we got something in an Indian Creek box, but it ain't Indian Creek. Stay tuned. All right, first off, huge shout out for Brock for sending this, and of course he'd send it in an Indian Creek box. But inside here, let me get her out. As I said, this is not an Indian Creek choke. Get this out of the way. Okay, right here we have an old rhino choke. I've been trying to get my hands on one of these for the pattern series. As you can tell, they got a very different setup going on with their port location. But this is a rhino choke. It's for Benelli Beretta Mobile, and this is actually a 575 constriction. And this thing's pretty cool. I mean, this is older. I think he said he bought this back in 2010. And he shot it a bunch. He sent it to us so we could pattern it out of our setups with 20 gauge that fit this choke thread. But I've been trying to find a rhino for a while, and it's pretty cool how they're designed. You have the ports on the back of the choke, and then it goes back to solid at the end. I've never actually had my hands on a rhino, so I'm pretty pumped to shoot this. The two guns we're going to be shooting, I got my TriStar Cobra 3. Now this will fit this thread.
My Frankie Affinity 3.
Okay, so I'm screwing this in now. That's how it looks in the gun. That is just different. That's crazy to me.
Rhino horn.
It's like reverse. I like it. Okay, the load we're gonna shoot out of it today, we're rolling with the Burgess Creek. This is a 20 gauge, 3-inch, ounce and 5/8, 7.5/9, or the mullet load as I call it. So we're gonna be putting this through the rhino choke through both guns at 40 yards, and we'll see what this rhino can do. I think it's gonna shoot this load really well. I've never actually seen one, so this will be a first. This is a first on the channel. Once again, Brock, thank you for sending the choke down and the ammo. We will be patterning that on the channel as well. Let's get to it. So I'll shoot first, then Moose, and we'll go sharpie. All right, guys, so here we go. TriStar Cobra 3, Rhino, 575 choke, Burgess Creek, the mullet load as I call them, 7.5/9, 40 yards. Let's get to it. All right, so I'll take choke out, hand it to Moose, and we'll see what he does in there. Okay, guys, so the Rhino actually won't screw into the new Affinity 3. And I mean, these are the same threads. We actually just took his kicks out, and it screws in both. These are both Benelli Beretta Mobile threads, but it won't screw into his Affinity. It gets about halfway and sticks, so that's kind of weird. I mean, it goes like butter in mine. Same with his kicks, but his kicks will go in, but the Rhino will not. So
something weird.
So I don't know about that, but we're not going to be jamming no chokes in guns. That's just not how we do things.
Brand new gun.
Not
any gun.
Any gun. So I don't know what's going on there. I mean, it fits mine, no problem. So does his kicks. It just, this will not run in that Frankie. That's weird. That's really weird to me. It's clearly the right thread. It's just not running. But if you run into that, don't force it down in there. Just something's up. So I guess what we'll do is we'll go down and see how my pattern looks at 40 and see how the Rhino shot, because we can't run it in the Frankie. I don't know what's up there. We'll have to figure that out, but let's go check out the pattern out of my setup. All right, guys, so that was the Rhino 575. Once again, we couldn't shoot it out of the Frankie Affinity 3. We're thinking maybe the choke from being 11 years old and shot a bunch, maybe it swelled. My TriStar does have a little bit more slop in the thread, so maybe that's why it threaded in perfect, but wouldn't go in the Affinity 3. That's the only thing we can think of, because it is the right threads. So I could only shoot it, and once again, I shot it with the Burgess Creek 7.5/9s. And first off,
even though I could not shoot this, I still got one on target.
No. First off, we actually had one hit the other target. As I was shooting at the left, we did make contact with one pellet.
Do you see it?
That's my pad.
But here's the pattern right here. Once again, this is TriStar Cobra 3 with the Rhino choke, 575, Burgess Creek 7.5 over 9s. This is a really open pattern, but guys, you can see I didn't put it spot on. I'm still trying to learn that TriStar. I've only shot it 4 times, but really for a choke being that old, that's not terrible. You get a lot more leeway, which a lot of chokes in 575, you kind of expect that. But you do have a good dense core pattern because my core is right here. It is dense. It definitely would kill turkeys. I mean, it still did, being way off. You can see outside of that one crazy flyer, which to me is just insane because there's really no flyers over here at all. There's a couple and then that one. But over here, everything's pretty condensed right here. I mean, it is a more open pattern, but that's not terrible for an 11-year-old choke. That actually, I've been wanting to shoot a rhino. I still want to get a couple rhinos in, but that's a good overall pattern. It's not a hot core by no means, and we did have one flyer that hit the other target over there, which is still crazy because there's not a lot right there. So that's very odd. Okay, so once again, that's the Rhino 575. Shout out to Brock for sending us the choke and the loads that he sent. We will be patterning them shortly. It is a more open choke, but guys, that's still a killer pattern outside of that one random flyer that makes no sense because there's no flyers there. It's just odd that we got one over there, but nothing there. But it didn't shoot bad, really. It's more open than most of our chokes nowadays, but it's 11 years old, 12 years old. He said he bought it in 09 or 2010, so a lot has changed. But with the Burgess Creek 7.5 over 9s, if you were still running this choke, you would still kill turkeys. My point of aim was right, and I actually put it centered. It'd be a smoked bird. It is more open than most of our chokes, but it's not bad. If you haven't yet, make sure to smash the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. We got no bullshit pattern tests here. We got broadhead tests. We have everything you could really want in the outdoors, so check it all out. We got 7 days a week of uploads right now. We've been really putting in the time on these pattern tests and just pumping out as many as we can get to. Now guys, we're trying our best to get all the different chokes, all the different loads, and as many guns as we can, but we can only fit so much into our budget, so we're giving it our all. We're trying to get as many combos as we can. But just remember, there's always next year. So if we can't get to what you want to see, just keep sending us requests. We'll get to as many as we can. But we're not going to get to all of them. There's just not enough days and not enough time. But guys, this is Jake SLEASMAN, Blue Collar Outdoors. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one.